Since we're short of time, I better get right into things. What does free software mean? Free software, Software Libero, is software that respects the user's freedom. The other case is proprietary software, user subjugating software, non-free software, which keeps the users in a state of division and helplessness. Division because everyone is forbidden to share with everyone else. And helplessness because the users don't have the source code, so they can't change anything. They can't even tell what the program is really doing, and often it's doing something nasty. But free software respects the user's freedom. What does this mean? Specifically, free software means that you have 4 essential freedoms that every software user should always have. Freedom 0 is the freedom to run the program as you wish. Freedom 1 is the freedom to study the source code and change it so the program does what you wish. Freedom 2 is the freedom to help your neighbor, the freedom to distribute copies to others, up to and including republication when you wish. And freedom 3 is the freedom to contribute to your community, that is, the freedom to distribute copies of your modified versions, up to and including publication when you wish. Now, none of these is an obligation. The point is you're free to do any of them when you wish, if you wish. So if a program gives you these 4 essential freedoms, then it's free software, which means that the social system of the distribution and use of the program is an ethical system. But if one of these freedoms is substantially missing, then the social system of the program's distribution and use is unethical. And this is a social problem which we in the free software movement aim to correct. The other way is, don't use proprietary software. If you don't use any software that denies you freedom number 2, you will never be in this dilemma. That's my solution. I refuse to use proprietary software, no matter how convenient or attractive it is. If somebody offers me a program but says I have to promise not to share it with you, I will say, my conscience does not allow this. So take your program and throw it in the toilet. The most vital resource of any society is not a physical resource, it's a psychosocial resource. It's the spirit of goodwill, the spirit of helping your neighbor. The level of this resource makes the difference between a livable society and a dog-eat-dog jungle. So what does it mean when powerful social institutions say that it's wrong to help your neighbor? What are they doing? They're poisoning this vital resource, something that no society can afford. And what does it mean when they say that if you share with your neighbor, you're a pirate? What are they saying? They're trying to equate helping your neighbor with attacking ships. Nothing could be more false than that, because attacking ships is very, very bad, but helping your neighbor is admirable. And what does it mean when they impose harsh punishments on people for sharing with their neighbors? How much fear is it going to take before you are too scared to share with your neighbors and they are too scared to share with you? This campaign of terror must be stopped. Thus, governments should legalize sharing. Laws to forbid sharing are an injustice. For instance, spying is quite common. One proprietary program that you might have heard of that spies on the user is called Microsoft Windows. When the user of Windows, and I won't say you because I'm sure you wouldn't use a program like this, when the user of Windows uses the menu feature to search her own files for a word, Windows sends a message saying what word was searched for. That's one spy feature. And when Windows XP asks for an upgrade, it sends Microsoft a list of all the programs installed on the machine. That's another spy feature. Microsoft did not announce the existence of these spy features. People had to figure them out. There's no guarantee that we have found them all. There may be other spy features that we don't know about. But spying is not limited to Windows. Windows Media Player also spies on the user. It reports whatever the user looks at. But please don't think that only Microsoft, the great Satan, would do a thing like this, because Real Player spies on the user the same way. And I think Real Player did it first because Microsoft doesn't normally invent things, it imitates them. Spying is pretty nasty, but there's also worse. There is the functionality of refusing to function. And I'm not talking about errors here. This is an intentionally implemented refusal to serve the user. When the program says, I don't want to let you look at this file, even though it's on your computer. I don't want to let you copy part of this file, even though it's on your computer. I don't want to print this file for you because I don't like you. And I'm here to control you, not to serve you. That's what those programs say. This is also known as digital restrictions management, or DRM. The intentional feature of refusing to function for you. And because this practice is so common and so nasty, we have a special campaign of protests against it. At the site defectivebydesign.org. Go to that site and sign up, and you can participate in our protests. We've had people protesting in front of Microsoft announcements, in front of Apple stores, in front of movie theaters. Join in the protests. People should all learn that software by many different companies is being designed to restrict them, and that the developers are their enemies. But malicious features even go beyond restricting the user. There is also the malicious feature designed to attack the user, backdoors. One proprietary program that you may have heard of that has a backdoor is called Microsoft Windows. You see, when Windows asks for an upgrade, Microsoft knows more or less the user's identity, and that enables Microsoft to deliver to him an upgrade designed specifically for him. which means Microsoft can take total control of that user's computer, and the user can't do anything about it. This backdoor we know about because we can deduce it from known facts. But it may not be the only one. A few years ago in India, I was told that they had arrested some programmers working on development of Windows and accused them of working also for Al-Qaeda, installing another backdoor that Microsoft wasn't supposed to know about. They probably figured they could get away with it because even inside of Microsoft, not that many people get to look at the source code. But they were caught, so apparently this attempt failed. Was there another that succeeded? We have no way of checking. But we do know that Microsoft installed a backdoor for the use of an even more violent terrorist organization, the United States government.